Hey folks, it's John with KGTropicals.com. Welcome back to episode 3 in our video series all about buying African cichlids. Now in the first 2 episodes, we talked about where they come from, we talked about the 3 different lakes, we talked about category 4, which is everything else. We also talked about what you can mix with what. Now that is a very complex conversation when it comes to what you can mix with what. Again, this video is geared towards the beginner, so that's why we're keeping it simple. And we talked all about that in episode 2. If you haven't watched that yet, why are you watching these backwards? Go back, watch episode 2, and then come back and see us. Because today, we're going to talk about spending some money. We're going to talk about the moment of truth. It's time to go buy some fish. Now, there's going to be a lot of terms and a lot of things that are involved in buying these fish, and you might not understand it going in. This video is going to give you a better understanding. And one of the main things, one of the main words, I mentioned it, you thought I was being inappropriate when I mentioned it in episode 2, the word unsexed. Now, it's one of those things that is in every retailer that sells African cichlids, the word unsexed. Basically what that means is the retailer is selling you a fish and they cannot tell you whether it is a male or a female. This applies to every lake, and it applies to every different type of fish that comes from the lakes. They're selling you this fish, could be a male, could be a female. Either way, they're cheaper, and they're usually much smaller. These are going to be juveniles that have not started to develop their colors yet. Why is this significant? Why does it matter that these fish are unsexed? Well, like I mentioned in episode 2, a lot of these fish take time to develop their colors, and a lot of the fish will never develop their colors. I'm talking about females, particularly with peacocks. Almost every female peacock is going to look exactly like every other female peacock. So if you have a German red and a red-top Luanda female, they're both going to look the same. Now there's subtle little teeny differences. We're not going to get into that though. They're all going to be brown, gray, maybe have some vertical bars. You know what? Let's take a look at the video that I showed you in episode 1. Let's take a look at that again and get a good idea of what females look like. It's easier than trying to explain it. This is the bicolor 500 peacock. Now, what's interesting about peacocks is they're just like birds. The males are going to be the brightly colored, beautiful fish. The females are going to be kind of a grayish brown color, not really going to show the vibrant colors that the males do. We're looking at here a flavescent peacock, gorgeous yellow body, blue fins, blue face, and then the female, which is going to come into the screen here in a minute, is just kind of brown. You know, not the most attractive fish in the world, but still. All right, so did you see what I was talking about there? The females are kind of a brownish gray, and the males are the ones that develop the big colors. So when we're talking about unsexed, particularly with peacocks and haps, you don't know what you're going to get. You buy this fish, you might only spend a few dollars for it, and you're thinking, woohoo, you know, I got this beautiful fish. It's going to take some time for it to develop and get those bright reds or bright blues, but that's okay because I got it so cheap. Not necessarily, because when you buy them unsexed, it's possible, you got a 50-50 chance that it's going to turn out to be a female. So when you see the term unsexed, that means you are getting usually a juvenile, which is going to be 2 inches or smaller when we're talking about peacocks and haps. That means you're going to spend a lot less money, but you're taking the risk of not knowing what it is. And here's one of the things that might confuse you a little bit more. What a lot of people do is, I get a lot of people that say, I just want a peacock tank. I was one of those guys a long time ago. And so I'm going to buy 30 fish, I'm going to buy them all unsexed, and when they grow up, I'll figure it out, who's who, and then I'll take the females back to my pet store and give them back or get a credit or whatever. Doesn't work, folks, because once you mix them all together and all those females look the same, I'm not going to take them from you, and I really don't know any fish store that would, because I can't resell them. I don't know what they are. I can't breed them because I don't know what they are. So that is one of the biggest frustrations that people deal with. They think, this is great. Instead of paying $50 per fish, I'm paying $10.99. This is awesome. I'm going to buy a whole bunch of them. But you don't really know what you're getting. So you really have 2 options. And I'm going to go ahead and say this across the board. I'm not going to get into too much detail, between peacocks, haps, and imbunas. But you really have two options. You can buy gender-specific fish, meaning buy only males, or you can buy unsexed fish. Let's keep it simple. If you're gonna buy males, they're usually going to be larger because they had to develop to a point where you can identify them as males. Therefore, they're gonna be more expensive. The males are the brightly colored, beautiful fish. Like I said in the first episode, they're just like birds. In Virginia, our state bird is the cardinal. The male cardinal is a bright red. It's one of the prettiest birds you'll ever see. The females are brown. Not a whole lot to it, right? Still a pretty bird. Birds are pretty, but nothing like the males. Well, these fish are the same way. So that comes at a premium. If you're gonna buy males, usually they're gonna be 2, 3, 4 inches or larger. And so if they're that big with that bright of colors, they're very valuable. I've seen fish for sale. We've never had any yet, but I've seen fish that are well over $100 a piece for large males. It's because whoever raised that fish had to take a year, year and a half to raise them to that size. So they're worth that much. So males are gonna be more expensive. Now we do have a lot of males that are in the 2.5 inch range that are about $20 to $22 a piece. That's not that bad. But if you just set up a 125 gallon tank and you want to put 45 males in there, that can get pretty expensive. It's a good day for me if you buy all those from me. But if you're spending $20 to $70 per fish, that can get pretty expensive. So buying them as males can be expensive. If you're gonna buy them all unsexed, it's a great way. It's a lot of fun because you spend less money, you put them all in there, and you watch them grow. And it's a mystery of what they're actually gonna be, especially if it's all peacocks, because you throw them all in there, you now know, you don't know who's who. They all look the same. So you put them in there and you just watch them grow, and you might have some females in there that you have to take care of down the road, however you choose to. That can be a problem. But a lot of people that are brand new to this don't really care about that. They're like, well, I don't have $1,000 to buy all these fish, so I'll buy them all unsexed. We'll watch them grow. It'll be fun, and we'll see what we got. So unsexed or gender specific, big price difference, but if you're going for an all male tank, it's the best way to do it. Now, what a lot of people do is they will buy unsexed. They'll let them grow and then take care of the females. And once they take those females out and do whatever they're gonna do with them, they'll throw some more unsexed in there, let those develop, and through time, it takes a while, it can take a few years, you will end up with an all-male tank, but you've had to get rid of the females. That's a strategy that a lot of people do to get an all-male tank. Or you get people that have money and they just buy them all big, and they have that instant gratification, they have that instant color, and they don't really care about watching them grow and develop. So that might be a little bit confusing, but it really shouldn't be. You're either going to buy these as unsexed or gender specific. Okay, real quick, let's touch a little bit more on the money side of things. If you are putting together your very first African cichlid tank, the first thing you need to decide on is what we talked about earlier. Talk about, are you gonna buy them unsexed or are you gonna buy mature adult males? The cost is going to be way different. If you have a large tank and you're getting a lot of fish to put in there, you can spend a fortune buying all males. If you don't have as much money, which not many of us do, if you don't have much money, you want to spend less, get more fish, and have the fun of watching them grow, then buy them unsexed. For unsexed fish, in imbunas you can expect to pay anywhere from $7.99 up to $14.99. Depending on the strain. Some of them are a little bit more valuable than others. That's for unsexed. Most of your imbunas that you're gonna find anywhere are going to be unsexed. They sell a lot, and so we don't really have them long enough to develop into adults. And if somebody wants to buy them now, I'm not gonna say, no, I don't wanna sell those to you because I wanna grow them up. It doesn't make good business sense. So most of your imbunas that you're gonna find are gonna be small. It's gonna be with the peacocks and haps that you're gonna see your biggest differences, because you're gonna see them unsexed, about 2 inches, and then you're gonna even see large adult males that are for sale. And so the differences in prices can be drastic. You can see small 1.5 inch, 2-inch peacocks that are $12.99 up to $18.99, again, dependent on strain, all the way up to large males that are 4 or 5 inches long that are anywhere from $49.99 up to $89.99, dependent on strain. They're no different than anything else out there. Some are more valuable than others. So a lot of it has to do with demand. A lot of it has to do with how fast they grow. Frontosas are a good example of that. They get very large, but they take forever to get there. So if you have a 4-inch frontosa for sale, that fish is a lot older than a 4-inch peacock. So a lot of that depends on the strain. But anywhere from $12.99 to $18.99 for unsexed, and then let's say $29.99, because sometimes the males are smaller, all the way up to anywhere. I mean, I've seen frontosas for sale for $300. So I'm just saying, I mean, the sky's the limit after when you start buying males. So that gives you an idea of price point. Now let's talk about where to buy them. All right, when it comes to buying these fish, it's common sense, folks. You can either go down to your local fish store and hand select your fish that you want, or you can go online and order them from a website like ours that will ship the fish to you. Now, I'm not going to get into shipping. I'm not going to talk about all that in this video, but yes, you can have fish shipped directly to your door. We do it every day, and the fish will get to you safely. You can do this. You do have to pay for shipping. Now, a lot of times, I know people locally here, or not even local, there's people that drive 3 hours to come to us. And so when you factor in gas and you got to buy lunch while you're out and all that, a lot of times it doesn't cost a fortune to get these fish shipped to you. But if you're ordering from me and you live in Oregon, it's going to be pretty expensive. Cheaper than if you drove all the way over here, but still, it's going to be a little bit expensive for shipping. So ordering online and having the fish shipped to you is a good option. What you lack when you do that is the ability to say, I want that fish. Now, sometimes online retailers like myself will send you a picture. Here's a picture of the one that we have available. This is the one that we'd be sending it to you. Now, this can be tricky because if you say, can you send me a picture of your German Reds? Well, I've got 12 large German Red males right now. It's hard to select one exact fish and send a picture of that one to you, because they're all in the same tank. But so sometimes that can be tricky, but a lot of your online retailers will send you photos. It's not the easiest thing in the world. We're all busy people, but most of us will do it. You kind of feel like you're hand selecting your fish when you do that, but for the most part, if you're going to order online, you're putting faith in that retailer that they're going to select a good fish for you. They're not going to send you bottom of the barrel type stuff. So that's where your research is really going to come in. Reading the reviews about the fish that people received from that particular company. And then there is, of course, the old-fashioned way, driving down to your local fish store, picking the one that you want. I want that fish, and taking that one home with you. That's the easy way. You get exactly what you want. Now, a lot of your mom and pop pet stores, unless there's somebody like us that specializes in African cichlids, a lot of your mom and pop pet stores might only have 4 or 5 different tanks dedicated to African cichlids. So the selection is going to be a lot more limited than ordering online. But at least you see what you're getting, you see that the fish is healthy, and you select that particular fish. So you can buy them online, you can go down to your local pet store, just do your research. It's all out there. You can find out all the information that you need to know about whatever company you're deciding to buy your fish from. So I hope this makes everything make more sense. I've tried to keep it simple for you. Buying African cichlids is fun. When you get into this world, it is a blast. Not only are the fish fun, but there's also a huge online community that is accessible to you. We're on it right now. The unlimited information is available online about these fish. So it is a fun community. You will enjoy it. Buying African cichlids can be a lot of fun because there are so many different options out there. So have fun with it. For your first tank, keep it simple. And why don't you go ahead and buy them from me? www.KGTropicals.com. We'll send them right out to you. Send me an email, give me your zip code. I'll tell you how much shipping would be. That's easy enough, right? Doesn't cost you anything to do that. Or go down to your local fish store and start looking at some of these fish. We're all partners out here. You know, we all help each other out. So go down to your local fish store and select your own fish. This has been a lot of fun, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.